It's Tuesday, August 10th, 2021. I was reading some of the comments earlier today, and there's a few people that comment on a regular basis saying that they're going to be rescued from this collapse. They don't need to prepare. God's going to come back and take them, and they're going to avoid the economic collapse. They're going to avoid the social problems. They're going to avoid any type of chaos coming to America or planet Earth. These people are just going to be rescued by God, and they're going to be immune from any of this. So there's no reason to prepare. They're just waiting for God to come take them. Now, look, I'm trying to walk as close as possible to God. Could I do a better job? Yes, I could. I'm trying to walk closer. I'm not perfect. I'm not an angel. I'm not here trying to be a pastor. But I believe we are witnessing the separation of the wheat and the chaff. But there are a group of people out there, and I see them on a regular basis, just saying that they're going to avoid all this because God's going to come back and take them. But you know, if you read history, how many people over history had to be persecuted, went through tribulations, lost their lives? Go back to what happened in World War II, what happened in Germany in the 30s and 40s, and how many millions of people didn't make it out that believed in God. You look at the last couple years in the Middle East, God-fearing people who've lost their lives. But yet there's a certain group of people here in America who believe that they're going to avoid all this, that God's just going to come and lift them through the clouds and take them away from all of this. Look, I believe people are about to be tested. Whether you believe in God or not, that's up to you. But I truly believe that people are about to be tested, and you better figure out what side of all this you are on. But I want to get right into this video today. I just want to make that point. But I looked at the market closed a couple hours ago. Dow Jones and S&P closed at all-time highs. With all the magic tricks, with all the illusions, ladies and gentlemen, it is so clear what is happening, the manipulation of these markets, and they are duping people in every day to just continue to acquire more debt, to buy into these markets, to buy houses, to buy cars, to run up their credit cards. They're doing whatever they can to get people to spend. And the whole thing is a house of cards propped up on quicksand. CBS Los Angeles. Outage leaves over 18,000 Southern California Edison customers without power in Cypress and Buena Park. This is in Orange County, California. This happened yesterday. Someone sent this to me yesterday, and this is becoming more and more common. Today, I could not get on the internet for hours. Now 18,000 people as of yesterday without power. That started at 5 a.m. in the morning. They were without power for hours. And this is happening now in Orange County, California. And we're hearing about power outages throughout the world. And the question is, why is it happening? And what happens if your power goes out for a day, 2 days, a week? It's very possible now that we're going to see grids down. Massive grids in this country go down for more than an hour or a couple hours. We're going to start seeing areas of this country that go down for days, and I hope that you're ready for that. People in the comments, there's still people in the comments that don't believe that any collapse is possible, that we're never going to have a collapse, although we're living in a collapse right now. We're watching this economy collapse daily. And you know what's interesting is the people that believe that there is no collapse happening, these are the people dependent on government subsidy right now just to survive. These are people sleeping on somebody's couch. These are people who've had to move back to their parents' home. These are people without a job right now. These are the same people dependent on the government to feed them and give them money, saying that there's no collapse happening, even though they've had to move out of their apartment, or they haven't been able to pay their rent for the last 15 months. But there's no collapse. Everything is okay. I looked at the U.S. debt clock today, and if you get a chance, go to usdebtclock.org. And if you want to see what a collapse looks like, just look at the debt clock, ladies and gentlemen. It's clear as day, and it's really, really scary when you look at this thing just racking up more and more debt by the second. We're now $28.6 trillion in debt here in America. America is bankrupt. Okay, it is bankrupt. There is no going back. Debt per citizen is $85,000. Debt per taxpayer is $227,000. But, oh yeah, everything's great. The economy's booming. What collapse are you talking about, JB? I'm talking about the collapse I'm reading right here, the official numbers. And if you even believe these numbers with the U.S. debt clock, it's probably even worse. Federal debt to GDP, if you go back to 1960, was 52%. You go back to 1980, it was 34%. Today, it is 128%. Federal spending, $7 trillion. Federal budget deficit, $3.3 trillion. We are running a $3 trillion deficit. Median income in America is a whopping $35,000, while the median new home is nearly $360,000. Median income in 2000 was $31,000. So here we are 21 years later, and the median income is only up $4,000. That's crazy. Median new home back in 2000 was $161,000. Today, it's $360,000. How are people keeping up with this? Dollar to gold ratio, 19.8 $1,000. Dollar to gold ratio in 1913 was $28.92. Look, I'm not giving financial advice, but I will continue to buy more precious metals because, look, to me, it's on sale, and it's the only thing that is going to have real value as things continue to collapse. But look, I know they're going to continue to dupe people into the stock market, into cryptos, into buying houses and buying cars and shopping at at whatever malls open, whatever's left, so you keep running up your credit cards. But for me, I have to buy real things, and gold and silver, preferably to me, gold, is what I'm going to continue to buy. We look at the amount of people living in poverty in America, the so-called wealthiest country in the world. We have 36 million Americans living in poverty. Food stamp recipients, 43 million people here in America. Unfunded liabilities, $154 trillion. We have over 100 million people now in the labor force. And we look at the U.S. money supply, M2, $21 trillion floating around. In 2000, that number was about 5 trillion. So you have all this money chasing after fewer goods and services, and you're going to continue to see more and more inflation, especially with the signing of this $1 trillion stimulus package. Another article today, June trade deficit sets new record of $75.7 billion. That's up 6.7% from May's $71 billion. The trade deficit is up 30% year over year. Yet there are people telling you not to worry, not to be concerned. Don't save any money. Don't buy any real hard assets. Everything's fine. Again, many of these people are dependent now on the government just to eat. The only number falling is the net services, which means U.S. service surplus is falling. Imported goods increased by $60 billion, while exported goods has decreased by $80 billion. This is really, again, eye-opening, really eye-opening. And this is comparing 2021 to 2019. But think about this. Okay, imported goods up by 60 billion, exported goods down by 80 billion. That's comparing 2019 to 2021. And we're going to keep seeing more imported goods increasing and less going out, more money, more US dollars leaving than coming in. And again, this is a massive trade deficit taking place. And we're losing any trade war that we're in. We are losing. Americans collectively owe $4.3 trillion. If you include mortgages, that's around $15 trillion. Credit card debt is nearly $1 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. Consumer spending made up over 70% of GDP in the second quarter. Auto, student loan, and credit card debt, Americans, just between these three, owe over $3 trillion. People just can't stop spending. They just cannot stop. The U.S. government cannot stop spending. The average consumer cannot stop spending, all while inflation is soaring. The Hedge today, Tyson Foods CEO says cost rising faster than it can hike prices. Retail prices at Tyson Food are set to rise on September 5th, Tyson CEO Donnie King said. How are families going to keep up with this? I have no idea. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're expecting God to come save you, I hope that you're not reliant on that. God has given you free will. God has given you a brain. God has given you a conscience. I hope that you're using them. I hope that you're tuning in. God is warning all of you to get ready. People, especially here in America, are about to be tested. And the people who have been in denial, the people who've been asleep, the people who just can't believe that this can happen in America, you're going to lose. So wake up and wake up today. The Hedge, Fed on verge of losing control. 25% of consumers expect inflation in 3 years to explode to 8%. Well, if you go to shadowstats.com and John Williams, CPI, based on the 1980 formula, puts inflation at nearly 14% right now. You know, we're not getting the real numbers. Everything is being manipulated. It really, I mean, the stock market, the bond market, the CPI, GDP, employment, unemployment, inflation, everything is being manipulated. And you have to be very, very careful here, ladies and gentlemen. CNBC, here's what's next for the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. House progressives insist the Senate pass a separate $3.5 trillion bill focused on poverty, healthcare, and climate change. This, to me, has guaranteed that way more inflation is on the way. This guarantees much more inflation for years to come. And to me, this is another reason why I will be purchasing more precious metals. This is a complete war on the US dollar. The US dollar is on borrowed time. And this is worrisome. This is really, really worrisome. We are printing so much money, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a guarantee that you're going to see a lot more inflation. And who's going to really pay here? The middle class is going to be absolutely decimated with all this money printing. They cannot stop printing money. Big trouble coming, ladies and gentlemen. CNBC, consumer inflation likely to be another scorcher in July, economists say. But don't worry. Economists say consumer prices have likely peaked. I just got back from the grocery store today, and I picked up just some French bread, a loaf of French bread. It used to be 98 cents. Now it's $1.98, and it's about 25% smaller than it was about a year ago. So we're going to continue to see more shrinkflation take place. The price of deli meat, the price of seafood, pork, steak, hamburger, it's getting to be astronomical. And I don't know, I mean, if you have a family of 4, I don't even know how you do it. This is just getting ludicrous. And when you look at what you're paying for gas just to go to the store, I don't know. I don't have an answer, ladies and gentlemen. If you have kids, you have a family, please comment down below. How is this affecting your life? And are you really noticing the squeeze now with inflation at the grocery store? Please comment down below, especially if you have a family, you have kids. Let us know how it's affecting you. This is just, I mean, it is so obvious every time you go to the store, this inflation that's taking place. The AP, in-person gamblers lifting U.S. casino market to its best year. This is really interesting. Casinos took in $13.6 billion in the second quarter, their best second quarter ever. Isn't this amazing? 2021 could be the best year in history for the casinos, as they're on track to surpass the $46.6 billion that they grossed back in, I believe, 2019. Right now, nearly $25 billion has been won during the first 6 months of this year. And I go back and I have to think, how much of this money came from the stimulus checks? How much of it came from the $600 and $300 benefits? How much of it's coming from unemployment checks right now? How much of it's coming from people just not paying rent? Instead of paying rent, let's go to Vegas for the weekend and go gamble. I mean, again, everything is so manipulated. So we're supposed to believe the economy is doing well because Vegas is having possibly its best year ever. Where did the money come from? And now what's going to happen, as now things are being mandated in Las Vegas again. So what's going to happen to the business now? Americans are no doubt gambling their futures. This is so shocking to watch what the average American is doing right now. They're gambling their lives away. They're gambling their futures. And people are going to get what they deserve. Again, this is the separation of the wheat and the chaff. And if you aren't paying your rent, or if you're taking your stimulus money and you're going to Vegas, you are one ignorant human being. Shame on you. You are going to get what you deserve. Wall Street Journal, home builders are restricting sales, pushing up new home prices. So they're blaming the labor shortage, lumber prices, material backlogs, limited land supply. This is limited construction. And now with limited construction, it's going to fuel prices to go even higher. Medium new home price, $360,000. Here it says it's up 6.1% year over year, according to the Wall Street Journal. I think, look, I'm not telling anybody what to do, but anybody going and buying a home in this bubble, I think you're going to really regret buying in this market. Again, for me, I don't buy in bubbles. I'm not going to buy a home in a bubble. I'm not buying stocks in a bubble. I'm not buying anything in a bubble. This is why I buy gold and silver, because it's on sale. It's the only thing literally now not in a bubble. But I think anybody right now, if you can hold off on buying a home, look, I don't know when it's all going to correct. I think we're beginning to see some correction now in the housing market. But you have to understand, by looking at what's happening, this whole thing is on borrowed time. You got 12 million renters, $70 billion in arrears for not paying rent. And you got nearly 3 million people in a mortgage moratorium. When this all expires, what do you think is going to happen in housing? How long can this continue when people are working minimum wage jobs or low paying jobs? People were losing 400,000 jobs a week. 400,000 people filing first-time jobless claims every week now for a year and a half. BlackRock and Blackstone can't buy every house, ladies and gentlemen. This thing is going to burst. So I'm going to end it right here with one last article on the Hedge Today with Mr. Peter Schiff. He says, all the data continues to support a weak dollar and stronger gold price. Isn't it amazing how they can manipulate the data? We're going to print another trillion and then maybe another $3.5 trillion on top of the near $29 trillion of U.S. debt. But yet the dollar, they're able to prop it up. They're able to push gold and silver down. Look, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, it's all borrowed time. And when they lose control, and mark my words, they will lose control, we are going to see precious metals explode. And if you think you're going to be buying them when that day comes, when they lose control, forget about it. You're going to see institutional money run into precious metals. And the average American is going to be priced out literally overnight. Fundamentals have nothing to do with this market. This market is based on hype, momentum, and it's based on algorithms. In the long run, fundamentals are the only thing that matter, period. That's according to Mr. Peter Schiff, and he is absolutely right. Fundamentals now don't mean nothing. They don't mean nothing. But at the end of the day, in the long run, fundamentals are going to mean everything. And that's why in the long run, we're going to see a big drop in the dollar and a surge in the gold price. At some point, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to realize that paying people not to work isn't going to work. It is going to have serious repercussions. We're going to pay an enormous price. And what kind of message does it send to people in this country that we're paying them not to work? And what about the people who are out there working hard every day? What about the small and medium business owner who desperately need people to work, but they can't compete with the government paying people to sit at home? The Fed knows if they remove all the help that's been holding up this economy, the minute they remove the help, the minute they remove the training wheels here, ladies and gentlemen, it is game over. Game over. If the Fed stops supplying the air in this bubble, the bubble deflates. I'm going to leave it there. Big trouble ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and this isn't to scare you. This isn't for doom and gloom effect. The reality is anybody with half a brain can see that big trouble is in the horizon or on the horizon. Big trouble is on the horizon. And look, this is the time that you need to wake up. This is the time you better be looking out for your families. This is the time you better be protecting your wealth. This is the time that, I think we're going to see huge opportunity coming at the worst of times. And if you have massive debt, if you don't have any money saved up, if you don't have any assets, you're not going to be able to take advantage of the opportunities coming. These same people who've been ignoring the warning, who've been going out spending, going out buying toys and boats and RVs and buying multiple houses, and people taking on all this debt and taking on all this risk, believing that everything's going to be okay. These are probably the people that I will be buying a house or a piece of land from, a boat from, a car from. Yes, these are the same people. These are the people that are going to lose. And yet they've been warned, just like you've been warned, just like I've been warned. They're the same people that see the vacant buildings, see the vacant stores, see the homeless crisis. They're the same people that ignore what's happening on Wall Street. They ignore the bubble because right now maybe they're making some money. Their 401k is up, their stocks are up. So they ignore all the manipulation because they're winning right now, right? They're making some money. So that doesn't matter. They don't mind playing in a crooked game. But these are going to be the same people that get wiped out because the game's going to change. And when it does, well, then they're going to be upset. Then they're going to say everything was rigged. How can you be in these games right now? How can you be in these markets right now and not see that everything is rigged? Yet you're going out, acquiring more debt, using your home as an ATM so you can go buy a boat and an SUV or to go buy another property in Texas or Arizona or whatever. But you're using your house as an ATM. You're taking huge risk. And yet you believe that nothing bad is going to happen. Well, I hope you're right. I hope nothing bad does happen. But when it does happen, it is going to happen. People like me and people watching this video today, we're going to be the ones buying your homes. We're going to be the ones buying your boats and cars. We're going to be buying it all up. We'll be coming in and buying stocks at pennies on the dollar. Unfortunately, that's how it's going to play out. That's how it usually does play out. So enjoy the party now while it lasts. It's lasted longer than I thought it would have, but enjoy the party while it lasts because the real party is about to start.